In moments of global tension, the truth is rarely simple. Tonight's investigation begins with a controversial claim, one that challenges the dominant narrative surrounding Iran, the United States, and the future of diplomacy in the Middle East. In a recent interview, renowned economist and policy analyst Jeffrey Sachs made a series of bold assertions, arguing that diplomacy has repeatedly been undermined and that global power politics may be shaping the story more than we realize. But how much of this is supported by history? And how much remains a matter of interpretation? This is not a story of sides, it is a story of facts, patterns, and consequences. The modern conflict surrounding Iran cannot be understood without revisiting one of the most significant diplomatic efforts in recent history, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Signed in 2015, the agreement brought together major world powers, including the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, and Germany. Its goal was clear: limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for economic relief. The deal was not informal. It was formally endorsed by the United Nations Security Council, making it part of international law. For a brief moment, diplomacy appeared to be working. However, in 2018, then U.S. President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the agreement, citing concerns over its limitations and long-term effectiveness. This decision marked a turning point. Sanctions were reinstated, tensions escalated, and trust, once built through years of negotiation, began to erode. According to Sachs, Iran had spent years attempting to engage diplomatically. While this claim reflects his perspective, it is supported in part by documented rounds of negotiations that continued even after the U.S. withdrawal, often mediated by regional actors such as Oman. Yet diplomacy has repeatedly collided with military escalation. Reports over the years have indicated that negotiations, whether formal or indirect, have at times coincided with heightened conflict. These overlapping timelines have led some analysts, including Sachs, to question whether diplomatic efforts are consistently prioritized. But this raises a critical question: is the failure of diplomacy due to unwillingness or competing strategic interests? To answer this, we must look beyond recent events and go deeper into history. In 1953, Iran experienced a moment that would reshape its political future: the 1953 Iranian coup d'etat. The coup, widely documented by historians, involved intelligence agencies including the CIA and the UK's MI6. It resulted in the overthrow of Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh and the strengthening of monarchical rule under the Shah. For many in Iran, this event became a symbol of foreign intervention, and its legacy continues to influence perceptions of Western involvement in the region. From 1953 to the Iranian Revolution of 1979, Iran remained closely aligned with Western powers. But after the revolution, relations shifted dramatically, leading to decades of mistrust, sanctions, and geopolitical rivalry. Sachs argues that this historical backdrop is essential to understanding current tensions. But history alone does not explain the present. Today, the Middle East remains one of the most strategically significant regions in the world, due not only to politics, but also to energy. Iran holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves globally. Its economic relationships, particularly with countries like China, have become increasingly important. At the same time, the United States maintains a strong military presence across multiple regions, supported by alliances and partnerships. Critics argue that this presence reflects a broader strategy of global influence. Supporters, however, say it ensures stability and protects international interests. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Sachs also raises concerns about the role of intelligence operations and regime change strategies, referencing past interventions in countries such as Iraq, Libya, and Syria. Indeed, the Iraq War, the intervention in Libya in 2011, and the ongoing conflict in Syria have all had long-term consequences for regional stability. These events are widely debated. Some view them as necessary interventions. Others see them as cautionary examples of unintended outcomes. What remains undeniable is this: regime change efforts have rarely produced immediate stability. Instead, they have often led to prolonged uncertainty. And this pattern is central to Sachs' warning. He suggests that attempts to reshape governments through force, rather than diplomacy, carry significant risks. But there is another layer to the story: international perception. At global forums such as the United Nations, countries often take positions that reflect their alliances, security concerns, and strategic interests. This has led to criticism that international responses can sometimes appear inconsistent, especially when similar situations are treated differently. However, it is also true that diplomacy at this level is complex, influenced by legal frameworks, intelligence assessments, and geopolitical realities. No single narrative fully captures the whole picture. As tensions rise, another concern emerges: the risk of escalation. Military actions, whether direct or indirect, can quickly lead to broader conflict. And in today's interconnected world, the consequences are no longer regional, they are global. Energy markets react, alliances shift, and civilian populations often bear the greatest cost. Sachs highlights the human impact, reminding audiences that behind every geopolitical strategy are real lives affected by war. This is perhaps the most important point of all, because beyond policy debates and political narratives, the ultimate question remains: can diplomacy still succeed? History shows that it can, but it also shows that it requires consistency, trust, and mutual willingness. Without these elements, agreements become fragile, and when they collapse, the consequences can be far-reaching. Today, the situation involving Iran remains uncertain. Negotiations continue in various forms. Tensions persist, and the world watches closely. The future will depend not only on decisions made in Washington or Tehran, but on the broader international community's ability to prioritize dialogue over confrontation. As we conclude this investigation, one thing becomes clear: understanding global conflicts requires more than headlines. It requires context, history, and the willingness to question even the most widely accepted narratives. If you found this analysis valuable, consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and sharing it with others who seek deeper, fact-based perspectives. Because informed audiences create informed conversations. And in a world shaped by information, that matters more than ever. Like this video, share it with those who need to see it, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an investigation that matters. Your support helps us continue asking the difficult questions professionally, responsibly, and without fear. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay informed,